to that, I will cheers you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Watch the Tech. This is your host, Seth Klebe, and I am joined by Stéphane Wasser, the managing director of Maurice LaCroix. How's it
Hi,
going?
Sid. Hi, Watch Tech. Doing great.
Awesome. It's great to meet you, especially because right before we hit record, you flashed a beer on the screen. So therefore, I think we're going to pop some tops and enjoy. I don't have a beer, but I have a bottle of
Yeah.
American rye whiskey. So
A little Italian beer just to feel the end of the summer.
true, true. Well, speaking of that, actually, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday or 2 days ago, you released a Halloween themed watch,
Yes.
and it's an icon
It's
or an iconic.
Icon Voto because we did this urban tribe with this British artist Voto, and he's got such great designs that we said, okay, with his little pictograms, there was one that was just perfect, and we looked at it, it's like, oh, that's gonna be nice for Halloween. So here it is.
Perfect. Well, October, I think, is the best month. Halloween is the best holiday. So to that, I will cheers you.
Yes.
Unexpected that I would be enjoying a rye whiskey this morning, but hey, that's showbiz. That's showbiz. Well, let me tell the listeners a little bit about you, and then you can help me fill in some of the blanks, Stéphane. If I'm not mistaken, you have been with Maurice LaCroix for almost 18 years now. You've held a number of different roles, and currently as managing director, that's like the nice, humble way of saying that you're the CEO. Is that fair to say?
Exactly, because we belong to DKSH. So there is already a CEO at DKSH. That's why they call me managing director. But, at the end, whatever the title is, the fun isn't different.
Right, right. Awesome. Very cool. We've had a couple great CEOs on the show, both in watches as well as in technology. So it's a great blend. And speaking of amazing pieces of technology, I've been lucky enough to be
Wow.
borrowing, and
I
it
think I
is
have
an
the same.
absolute.
Is
Oh,
this
are
a
we
good
matching?
feeling? You got taste.
Okay.
You got taste. It's the
Okay.
iconic.
The iconic.
It's the icon with an I and a C, which stands for innovative craftsmanship. So when you call it that way, you have to deliver, right?
You definitely do. So I got this from Andre he gave it to me at an event we were at last week, and it was in the box until yesterday. I was like, I'm not gonna open it until the day before. And I've just been loving wearing it for the last 24 hours or so. It's heavier than I thought. First, that was like my first thing. I took it out and I was like, huh, this is how is it so heavy when it's carbon, rubber, ceramic, but it has such wrist presence in a great way.
It's got titanium case. It's coated, but it's a titanium case.
Okay.
Well, you got a
Okay,
real
got
nice
it.
mix of materials. I mean, in the iconic range for the moment, that's one we mix the most materials. Yeah. So,
Okay.
as you said, basil carbon dial. Carbon dial is interesting because it's got a special weaving, and it's pressed. So every dial is unique. And the case titanium. What's interesting is DLC sticks, or the coating sticks better to titanium than to steel because of the chemical properties.
Okay. Well, actually, I wanted to ask that leads me to one of my first questions because the dial is so unique. I'm going to see if I can bring it up
Yeah.
and get a good shot of it. So your parent company, Desco, I just learned had like its beginnings in the silk trade. And when I look at this dial, I see like a true pattern that's unlike anything else with carbon fiber. Is there a connection between Desco's beginnings and deciding to have this dial with the carbon be almost like woven like a silk or textile material?
Desco, what's really about Desco, they're the originators. Of course, they created Maurice LaCroix in 1975, so it's our 50th anniversary this year. And what's particular is they've really led the strategy in those days. What's particular about the watch? I mean, it used to be called Calypso. It was launched in 1992, which was the same design as today. If you go and Google Calypso, you will see in terms of design, it's got the integrated bracelet strap, and it's got also these 6 claws. So it's very nice, and yeah, they certainly it's certainly a little hint to the past.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like too much of a reach, but as I was learning more about Maurice LaCroix and I looked at the pattern, I heard about the silk trade. I'm like, it all just seems just too too serendipitous to not take a shot at it.
Yeah. I mean, they
Yeah.
were doing a lot of training, and for sure, the kind of being innovative in the materials. I mean, they were innovative in their days, and that's what we're trying to do here with the iconic, right? So it's about the
Yeah.
materials, also the movement. It's a 60-hour power reserve that we developed with a company called Soprod. So it's not the usual Celita or ETA movement, and if you look at the bridge, it's got a beautiful balance wheel at 6 o'clock. So that's quite nice.
It is. Yes. I'm a big rotor fan, and yours is very nice. It's got a good balance of brushing and polishing. I can't hear it at all either, I feel like people fall on two different spectrums. I'd love to know where you fall on this. People either like love to hear the rotor or they don't want to hear it at all.
I mean, it's
Where do you fall?
it's more linked to the technology and the movement you have. If you're gonna get a Celida SW500, which is a chronograph, or the ETA chronograph, it's big movements. We call them tractors. They need to develop a lot of power to run both the hour minute and the chronographs. So there you need you need a big rotor, and you can hear it. I mean, you can even swing it and then you will hear it. But on these watches, the power reserve is quite nice. I mean, you have to you have to wind it up a bit to have the 60 hours. So you would have the rotor, but here it's very elegant. And what's also interesting that you mention it, they have reworked the whole movement, so prod, and they have worked a lot on the rotor. This is why it's such a nice rotor, and it's also in terms of efficiency, it works very well.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful, it's functional. I mean, I just get the sense the iconic watches are ones that are meant to be worn and for lack of a better word, just fucked with out in the world. Now, let me ask you, with all these different materials that go into a Maurice Lacroix or an iconic specifically, I mean, you've got rubber, carbon, titanium, DLC treating. When it comes to making a new watch for you, do you have a preference of what like your favorite material is to work with?
I mean, there's one material I like very much because it's very stylish and it oxidates, so it's living, it's bronze. Now to the iconic, I mean, here the iconic, or why we've brought the iconic, I mean, we've worked a lot on the materials the last 2-3 years. We did the ceramic watch, we did full titanium watch, we did a few bronze watch on the Icon last year. So last year was kind of a year of the materials, and we thought, let's mix and match. That's interesting. But if you want to do it on the classical Icon, it's a bit complicated because I mean it's your bestseller, right? And you don't want to start playing with your bestseller and trying things out. So you thought, you know what? Maybe there's a playing field outside of Icon, which remains Icon, and that's the iconic, right? And so, to my preference on the materials, there's a lot of R&D. We have a very strong product team, and we have concept and development in house. So that's the advantage. And
Mm-hmm.
as you develop the collections and the year goes on, you meet a lot of people, a lot of suppliers, and they know we're quite open to try stuff and bring new techniques and new materials. It's more I would say it's more the merit of the product team that have done here a great job, and they come with the proposals. And when we look at it, um, you know we have product committees, so it's not only me deciding, I think it's not
Right.
only the managing director or the CEO that has the best ideas, but usually it's the teams or the suppliers. And when you put all these feedbacks and this knowledge together,
Yeah,
you get great stuff.
I agree. It makes me be really curious actually, because clearly the supplier relationships like that can really influence the choices that you're making with a watch. If you had to take a guess, how many people have to come together to put together and produce from start to finish one of your watches?
I mean, there's always the saying that, in the Swiss watch assembly, or to get a finished Swiss watch as the Maurice Lacroix on your table, there's been 14,000 hands that have touched the product. So from the first designs, the product, the first developments, the prototyping, to going into production, doing the dials, doing the cases, the polishing, the assembly, the quality control, bringing you the watch at retail. So that's why it's called craftsmanship.
Well said. I think I just like shivered a little bit because I think my appreciation for watches as a whole just went up a level after you just described that to me, which is really cool because I've been pretty obsessed with watches for quite some time, and it takes something like that to make me fall in love with it even more. So thank you for that. I really mean it.
Welcome.
And staying on the materials topic for one more second, I saw that certain watches also use some level of recycled materials. Could you tell me a little bit about that as someone who actually likes sustainability and I studied environmental science in college?
Okay.
I'm actually genuinely curious
Yeah.
about anything you could tell me with the recycled materials that get used.
So it was in 2021, we launched Icon Tide. So Tide was basically based on, it's a composite, but it was based on recycled PET bottles and fiberglass.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was an exercise. It was an interesting project and an interesting product because we were getting a lot of requests from customers, consumers, retailers. The obvious ones are about, how do you do your packaging? What's in it? I were getting questions and emails like, "Are your watches vegan?" Yeah, because you use oils, but of course it's synthetic oils and not animal oils. But you know, this is what people are worried about and conscious about. And also, the leather straps, right? Calf, exotic animals. I mean, there's been a lot, and we thought, okay, it's interesting that customers and consumers, they do care. They do care what you do. We're of the kind of, we're always we have a sustainable mind. I like to speak of sustainable mind because we're not doing sustainability just to produce nice reports. It has to flow in the products, in our processes, in the way we work, which is much more powerful. So doing this watch, we thought, oh, that's interesting because we met a supplier. Again, the story about suppliers. We met a
Right.
supplier who, Swiss company, but they had recycling companies of PET bottles in it was North Thailand and Indonesia. That's why you have the biggest waste. They call it I don't remember, patches of plastic floating in the oceans. And with the currents, they just flush him on the islands in Thailand and in Indonesia. So the Swiss guy, he set up a company to one side recycle this. Then he created a machine which is also sustainable because if you want to recycle PET bottles, plastic bottles, you just need to bleach them and then they're clean and transparent again. But that would be too easy. You don't want to do a process where you even pollute more your process. So they've developed let's say, a cleaning and recycling machine just with water. So they're capable of, so they recycle PET bottles. They recycle also fishing nets. I mean, there's a lot of things they can recycle today. And through their machine, which has a sustainable process, they produce granulates. And the challenge was for these watches because we wanted to make kind of a variation of color because that's the advantage of it. You can color it in the mass and you can get any color you want. So it makes it a funky product, right?
Yeah.
And then the second challenge about this watch is, a watch has a movement. It should be water resistant in the sense of you should be able to, dive at a certain depth, and that the watch remains without any water or any kind of leaks in it. So you have the back of the watch. What you have is of the back of the watch, you always have a screwed case back. And what was interesting is the plastic has a dilatation coefficient, which is higher than steel, right? So the thing is, when you were putting the case back on the watch and we were doing all the tests, it was not water resistant. So we had to spend a lot of time to develop, the design team and the concept team, a case back that is water resistant. We're very good at doing this on steel watches, but plastic was a new development. It was a kind of a new concept and a new era of innovation. So we managed it, but it took us about 2 years to get that right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, one element you're talking about, like sustainability, what a lot of people don't know today is the steel that we use has 50 to 60% recycled steel already.
Cool. So every watch, no matter what, has some level of a recycled material in it
Not
from Maurice LaCroix.
100%, no, like 50, 60%, yeah.
Oh, that is a cool fun fact.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. How's the beer so far? Is it good?
Fantastic.
There we go. I love it. Well, I think it's safe for us to move into the portion of the show that I like to call show and tell, because you teased me before we hit record that you've got some other watches with you, and now that the whiskey and beer is flowing, I want to see what you got, Stéphane.
So, any order of preference, or?
Let's see here. As someone whose favorite color is black, then followed by blues, I'm just going to leave it with that and see what happens.
Okay. So speaking of Maurice Lacroix, I mean the kind of the pivotal moment, or kind of the key moment of the brand, was in 2016 where we launched Icon, right? Which is this, I told you, this redesign of the Calypso, and of course, relaunching a brand in 2016. We were not very confident in saying, okay, here's the new Calypso. So that's why we called it Icon, because the idea is when you go to the website or take a catalog or a book or whatever, go to our website and we have the masterpieces. We had a collection called the Classique, which today is 1975. And we said, okay, how do we tell the people this is the most important piece in the collection? And we said, it's our Icon, right? So that was the 2016 move, and today Icon is 70% of the business. And
wow.
the best-selling Icon is this automatic blue dial. So that's why. Back to you.
There we go. There's the blue. Okay.
Here I'm holding the first prototype.
That is the first prototype.
The first prototype. So it's a very emotional product for me. The product director came to me and says, hey, so, I mean, the whole thing is, in 2014 it was quite a challenging year, and we were we didn't have any, people knew us for masterpieces, but they were not in a commercial range, right? And so we needed products in $1,000 to $3,000. And we did a lot of stuff. We developed a lot of things, and the question was, what do we do? And then he came up with this Calypso and says, hey, actually this old watch from the 90s is Maurice LaCroix and has some potential. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? Because if you look at it, it was like, very round, very, very 90s. And he said, no, let's do a design study. I say, okay, go ahead, do the design study. And then, he comes with the designs. I'm like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, let's do a watch. Let's do a prototype, right? And so this is the first prototype. And we came, it was just beautiful, and proportions. This what's very typical is very, this kind of very flat face, flat sapphire crystal, thin case, and I don't know how good the quality is of my.
Oh, it's great. It'll pick up great. That's cool. That's a piece of history. So when you saw the prototype, was that when finally you were like, okay, we're on to something. This is magic?
Yeah, and
That's it.
what was great is, like, I mean, the designer, it's David Sanchez, who's now he's a CEO of Bomberg. He told me, "Hey, we hold something here, and it's great because he told me you can do quartz watches, you can do mechanical watches, you can do chronographs, you can put in our manufacture movements, our high-end engines in this." He said we can do it bigger, we can make it, bulkier, iconic. That was so. All these designs, we had them in 2016. We had it, and then it was just about, okay, we just have to roll it out in the next 20 years. That's how powerful
Right.
this design is.
Just the next 20 years.
For a start.
For a start, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great watch,
Yeah.
obviously, and it's so cool to see the prototype. Yeah.
So you told me black dial. We saw one with the iconic. You told me blue dial. You got the icon.
Yeah.
So Maurice LaCroix is also about no dials.
Tell me more.
Skeleton.
Okay. Fair enough.
So this is one of my favorite watches too.
Okay.
It's our masterpiece skeleton, and it's actually the first watch. So this is our base movement. So this is our first manufacture movement.
Okay. You know what? What's so cool is I can hear the ticking. It's that pronounced that the microphone is picking it up.
Oh,
That's
that's cool.
awesome.
That's cool.
I love that. That's never
And
happened before on this show.
and it's I mean, look at, so we're known for skeleton. We've done a lot of skeletons since the beginnings. And what's particular about this one, this is our manufacture base. So all our manufacture movement are based on this base movement. And it's just, this design is from 2007. So imagine,
Okay.
you know, and it still looks as cool as it has been done with design this year. So
What's the diameter of that watch?
it's a 43.
A 43. Okay.
It's the origin, the original movement. So we used to do Unitas based retrogrades in the past, and when we did our own movement, we worked a lot on re-engineering this Unitas movement, which is quite a big movement because it was a pocket watch.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I obviously putting on this icon that I've been borrowing, and I knew that this was 43. I don't own any watches that are 43 millimeters, but I've got to say, I have everything from 35, my smallest, which is a Patek Calatrava, to the largest that I own, which is a 42.3 Blancpain 50 fathoms.
Yeah,
The 43, like I was a little scared of it. Honestly, I was like, it might be too big, too bulky, but I can confidently say, with the right design, K-shape, bezel, it's not a problem. And I think it's like a tight 43 package, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
looks great.
the logic is you have the more classical lines on the icon, and the iconic is the more sporty, more innovative, bit more character line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting
I,
because there's only 1 millimeter, and even black shoe makes it smaller. But when you really compare it like this, it
I
has
mean,
a powerful design, right?
definitely, definitely. And I love a rubber strap. In the last few years, that has kind of sneakily become my favorite strap. It breathes well. Obviously, like this one it's thick. It like really conforms to your wrist nicely without like being permanent, so it's still very flexible. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it's a treat. It's a treat. I told Andre, I was like, "Do I have to give this back to you?"
well, you have to
I just keep
negotiate.
Right, right. I mean, in my day job, I am a professional negotiator, so we'll see what happens.
There you go.
We'll see what happens. Um, are there any other watches? I'll give you one more that
One
you can show
more.
us, and then I've got a
So,
couple other questions for you,
so
and
I
then we'll
mean,
wrap up.
preparing the show, and you did a great briefing. You asked me, one of my oldest watch, or my first watch, right?
Yeah.
So the story is when I turned 20, and this is a very typical Swiss thing, because of, we're bathing in the Swiss watch industry. My father gave me a budget and says, choose any watch you want with this budget. What do you want, right? So then so it was 30 years ago, so 1995. So in those days, you used to go to a retailer who had certain brands. You would ask a catalog, go home and study, right? So I went to Breitling, I went to Rolex, I went to Ebel, I went to Longines, no Omega. So that kind of price range.
Okay.
Budget was like, I mean, we're talking 95, so it was about 2,000 to 3,000 Swiss francs, which would today be 6 to 7,000, I think. So,
Good. Hey, that's a solid starting budget.
and I chose, I mean, and this brand was so hot in the 90s, and this watch was so nice, and I really loved it because I went to, of course, I went in the stores, got the catalogs, but also went to try all the watches. And this watch had a finishing and a quality which was beating all the other watch brands in those days. And I got an Ebel Voyager black tie.
There we go. An Ebel Voyager. See, and then today I feel like you don't hear about them that often,
Yeah, it's a
right?
pity. It was a
I know.
beautiful,
Yeah, maybe their time has passed,
yeah, yeah.
but that's very cool.
And I think it's a 38, which was big in the past, but today it's, of course, looks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the crystal actually looks very small, but the bezel is seems like pretty massive. So that's where like a lot of that the 38 is like living on that particular watch.
And the finishing, I mean, the quality of the strap. I mean, when I compare it to watches I touch every day, it's incredible what they've done
Yeah.
in the 90s. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love it. Well, since this is Maurice LaCroix's 50th anniversary, which is a huge milestone, but still so early in the journey, right, compared to some brands that have just been around like forever. Is there anything that you could share about what's upcoming for the brand? Any teasers?
sure. I mean, we have, so, I mean, the 50th was also the chance for us to kind of, take a step back, look at ourselves, saying, okay, what have we done good, but also what do we miss for the future? And so kind of what we've done good is, I think, that the whole, the capacity to do our own movements and also to bring this at accessible prices to the people, because that's been with the brand for ages. What we were missing a bit is kind of the icon has a lot of character, but we had a lot of feedback saying, somebody who just likes the brand, and often the price points of Maurice LaCroix, you kind of starter price point, entry price points where people start with mechanical watches, and there you're gonna buy a watch, but you're gonna buy a watch and make an investments maybe for 10, 20 years, and so you want to have a watch which you're sure it's an everyday watch. It's a comfort choice, right? There we were missing something, so that's why we brought as a kind of celebration of the legacy, the collection 1975, which is a beautiful finished watch, 50s inspiration case, beautiful classic timeless watch. So that's the first step we did. Then the second step was about, okay, we're now here. Icon is 70% of our sales, even more. What's the future? And what's the kind of the briefing for the future? And looking at our whole portfolio, that's where we came with the idea of the iconic, saying, okay, Icon is now destined to become a classic, but the spirit of the brand is about forward looking. So we're going to develop the icon without touching it because it's so precious. So that's for the iconic, and thinking of iconic and taking our legacy and all what we're capable of doing. What you will see the next 3-4 months is a series of iconic watches being relaunched with what Maurice LaCroix is great at is skeleton watches, retrogrades, our competence of doing nice stuff in an iconic case, which is the language of the future.
All right, some Easter eggs in there. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Stéphane, I'm going to cheers you one more time. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for
and
inviting me.
joining.
It was great.
My pleasure. Such a joy to have you here. Thank you so much to everyone who's listening and watching Watch the Tech. This will be one of our last episodes for the year as well.
Wow.
So pretty soon we'll be kicking off 2026 season, which will be exciting. But thank you all. Thank you, Stéphane. Appreciate it so much.
See you around.
See you around. Oh, that's good.